I gather we're
Yep,
on
you're on.
the air. Okay. Good evening. Tonight is December 5th, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. The City Council of Rolling Meadows is now in session. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon.
Here.
Bud Matts.
Here.
Majakis.
Here.
Gallo.
Here.
Bianger.
Here.
Diestis.
Present.
Veenbos.
Present.
7 present. We do have a quorum. The first order of business is the motion to approve the minutes of the November 21st, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting and the November 28th, 2017 Council meeting. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes? Mr. Banger has made it, and it has been seconded. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Well, tonight we have a new officer being sworn in. Do I have a motion to deviate from the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. And it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall the council deviate from the agenda to swear in Officer Snare? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and we will now deviate from the agenda.
Ellie, can come up here?
Sorry.
This is a very special moment. Mayor has a couple things to say.
Well, first off, I want to say this has always been a pleasure for me because I had the opportunity to serve on the fire. If you turn on the mic, it even works better. I had the opportunity to serve on the Fire and Police Commission for 12 years, so there were many young men and women that came forward here. So congratulations. I'm glad to swear you in tonight. I'm told you're a graduate of Conant High School. You graduated Harper College. You graduated from the Cook County Academy December 1st, 2017. And Chief, he grew up in Elk Grove.
Yes.
Was there some type of possible recruitment going on in Elk Grove, Chief?
I did hear about that town. I've heard some things about them, but I said Rolling Meadows is second to none. So Elk Grove will be okay, but like I said, now he's with Rolling Meadows Police Department. We're very excited, and he actually left another agency to come to Rolling Meadows. So we're very happy about that, and we're looking forward to a long, happy career for Officer Snare.
Okay. Well, thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alex Snare,
Having been appointed to the office of police officer
having been appointed to the office of police officer
in the city of Rolling Meadows,
in the city of Rolling Meadows,
county of Cook,
county of Cook,
do hereby solemnly promise
do hereby solemnly promise
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois
and all of the laws and ordinances of the city of Rolling Meadows,
and all the laws and ordinances of Rolling Meadows,
and that I will perform the duties
and I will perform the duties
of the office of a Rolling Meadows police officer
of the office of a Rolling Meadows police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you and congratulations. And Dad is coming up forward to pin the star. You know, what we're going to do is we're just going to take like a 60-second recess so you can have pictures for the family. So, good.
sign-up sheets.
How big are those jars of honey? Pint or quart? They've shown, because there's actually comb in there. I have a pint sized quart. Oh, yeah, no, what I do is, I put it in the microwave, the wax melts.
This now brings us to the time in the meeting where the council is now open to members of the audience for 20 minutes. Sorry, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I did have a mayor's report. There were a few things that I did want to bring up. First off is the folk that the residents that I have visited with this week, a number of them were up with enjoying the good weather to get the Christmas lights out and get those going. In fact, I believe in the 6th Ward, you even have a radio show going on with your Christmas lights. I did have the opportunity to attend a Christmas tea for 200 women and get to serve them in a pink shirt. It was a really fun activity. I also attended the Christmas Carol at the community church, so we did have the opportunity to see that there are things going on in the community. So, are there ward reports? Seeing none, it is now time for the council meeting is now open to members of the audience for 20 minutes to address the city council on matters that are not on the agenda or regarding other issues. We ask that persons wishing to address the city council keep their comments to 5 minutes in length. Comments must be addressed to the council as a whole through the mayor, and profanity may not be used in any form. The first person up tonight is Jim Roberts.
Thank you. I just want to say a few things about the proposed reduction in height for the cell antenna from 75 down to 45. I think that's a great idea. The city needs to be proactive on something like this. The one thing we don't want is all these 75-foot towers going up around town, dotting the landscape, showing up in places where they don't belong, like parks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. David? Is it David Alberchuk? Andraic. Sorry,
Hello.
I'm sorry, David.
That's right. My name is David Andraic. I live at 2211 Foley Street in Rolling Meadows. I am actually on the park board. Despite that, this is my first time addressing the city council, and I'm a little nervous because we usually don't get an audience. Aside from I am here to talk a little bit about the cell tower. Not so much as a park board member, but as a citizen. I wanted you to know I was on the park board for background information. I also wanted to let you know up until September, and the 22 years prior to that, I was an RF engineer. RF engineers are the one who work on cell towers and stuff like that. I was on the side of design and not execution. I've thought a lot about addressing someone regarding this for a while, and it just happens to be now because I heard the information about lowering the height from 75 feet to 45 feet. I'd like to address that, but before I do that, I want to let you guys know why I like the idea of the cell tower. When it was first brought to my attention, I thought it was a great idea for two reasons. One, it was a good form of revenue, something on the order of $2,000 a month. And also, it's the direction that society is going. I mean, I was in the field for 22 years. It's going to just proliferate. We're going to see this from now until, the end of time, probably. So getting away from it is not really feasible. But before I said I'm in favor of this totally, I thought about what are some of the objections about it. So I thought, well, some people might not like it because it's tall. And then I thought, well, hey, that park over there is already have really tall light towers. I think something on the order of 90 feet tall. And there's something on the order of 9 of them, yet no one says anything about those. The second thing is they're ugly, and ugliness could reduce the property values. Well, I lived on Foley Street since 1999, and up until all this cell tower stuff, I never noticed, but I have a 50-foot ugly pole in my backyard. It is probably 30 feet from my deck, and it's got these hideous wires coming off of it, and it's like big around. It's called an electric pole, and a lot of us have them. Yet, I never thought about how ugly this was when I was deciding to buy the house. Therefore, I mean, I don't think that the ugliness is going to have an impact on real estate. There's just too many other ugly things to affect it, and removing one or adding one isn't going to have any impact. Then the last thing I could talk about, which I am an expert in, is the safety. I guarantee you, this thing to your head is probably 1,000,000 times more dangerous than you standing near the power coming from the antenna. Even though the antenna is putting more power out, the power dissipates at the inverse of the square root of the distance. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, so you could just take my word for it. If you go 10 inches away, it's 100 times less than 1 inch away. If you go 100 inches away, square 100, it's 10,000 less. Safety is not a concern. So when I look at, it's not a safety issue, it is ugly, but so are all the electric poles around here. And
Excuse me, you do have 60 seconds, just so you know. Thank you.
So I'll sum up by saying this. I interpret the lowering the 45 feet as a way to circumvent this tower going up, because that will cause the vendor to pull out. I think it's a bad idea. It sends the wrong message. It says if enough people complain, even if there's just 50 of them, and they're loud enough, that will bend the city. And industry isn't going to look kindly on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you for addressing the council.
The next person up is Donna Besessi.
Donna Besessi. I could have yielded my time to Dave because he was speaking very well on the topic. I'm also here to speak about the cell tower and the lowering of it to 45 feet. It's a concern as a resident. I'm coming here as a resident, not as a Park District Commissioner. I have the information because I'm a Park District Commissioner, but I'm coming here as a resident because I'm a cell phone user myself. Most of my friends and family in town don't even have house phones anymore. They're cell phone users, and cell phones are really important. So if we make rules like this that limit the use of cells to be able to communicate with each other, it's going to limit, as technology gets better, it's going to limit the ability for people in our town to utilize cell phones. And I don't think that's going to improve anybody's property value. I think it'll actually decrease not only businesses, but people wanting to be in our town if they have trouble communicating, and if they have trouble working with the city on getting a business like a cell company to want to come into our town. On the other end of it, as the commissioner, I did a lot of due diligence research in this when we were first discussing it. And I looked into some FCC laws, talked to a lawyer with the FCC. Not that I was investigating a lawyer. I talked to a lawyer who happened to write papers about this and just asked him background information about cell towers and what the rules and regulations are. And then I've looked a lot into the Senate bill that's out there for Illinois and what they're proposing and what their meaning behind the proposals are. And I just don't know that we, by making these changes, that we would be in conjunction with those laws. I think some of them would be very contrary to the spirit of what those laws were written. And so I'm concerned about that and what that consequence could have for the residents of the city should a cell company dispute the fact that we're, doing this as a whole versus just singling them out. And I can't think of the term right now, but, singling them out and discriminating against them as a business being in our town. So that's all I'm concerned about. Thanks.
Thank you for your time addressing the council. That ends the end of the public input. This brings the council to the ordinance for the second reading. Ordinance A will grant final approval of a special use for the redevelopment of property located at 2765 Algonquin Road for Fuller's Car Wash. On August 8th, 2017, it was brought to the staff's attention that the notification procedure was not completed correctly and adjacent property owners were not properly notified of the original public hearing. After meeting with a neighboring owner, the city attorneys recommended rehearing the petition and ensuing that proper notification was performed. At its meeting held on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 7-0 with 2 absent to approve the rehearing of the special use. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? Mr. Cannon has made it, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diestis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
With 7 in favor and none opposed, the ordinance is adopted. This brings us to ordinance B, granting a variance to the size, number, and location of parking spaces at 3405 Algonquin Road. This petitioner has appeared before the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council previously for a text amendment to allow assisted living establishments as a special use in a T1 district. A special use for an assisted living establishment and sign appeal for the property at 3405, 3477 Algonquin Road. The petitioner is now seeking specific approval for the parking plan associated with the development so that they move forward with their lender and the permitting process. At its meeting held on Tuesday, November 7th, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 7-0 with 2 absent to approve the proposed variance for the number, size, and location of parking spaces. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Diestis has made it, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diestis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
7 in favor and none opposed. The ordinance is adopted. This brings us to ordinance C, to grant preliminary approval of a 7-lot subdivision for property known as 1600 and 1620 Vermont Street in the R1 Single Family Residential District. The property located at 1600 and 1620 Vermont Street is being proposed to be subdivided and redeveloped from 2 lots totaling 2.25 acres into 7 single-family homes. The lots will range in size from 10,000 square feet, the minimum required lot size in an R1 district, to 15,011 feet. At its meeting held on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 7-0 with 2 absent to give preliminary approval of the proposed 7-lot subdivision. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? Mr. Cannon has made it, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diestis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
Cannon. Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
7 in favor and none opposed. The ordinance is adopted. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda for ordinances. It consists of 3 items, D through F. Does any alderman wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Mr. Cannon.
E and F.
Okay. Okay, we no longer have a consent agenda. Okay. D, repeal the sunset provision for the wheel tax. This ordinance, if adopted, would appeal the sunset provision for the wheel tax. Do I have a motion to move that forward? Mr. Baner has made it. Has it been seconded? Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Banjer.
Yes.
Diestis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed. It does pass. E is to amend the city code for small cell antenna tower right-of-way sitting ordinance. The ordinance, if adopted, would provide the city with control of these small cell towers within the limitations imposed by pending legislation. The ordinances can be amended in the future depending on the outcome of the pending legislation. In the meantime, the city would have regulations in place. Do I have a motion? Move forward. Mr. Banjer has made it. So may we have a second? Is there any discussion? Well, there is discussion. Mr. Cannon, you pulled it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I could do both of them together if you wanted. My proposal would be to pull both of these tonight and bring it to the COW next week. I think a lot of us, I won't speak for anybody but myself, a lot of us were kind of surprised that this popped up with such speed attached to it. It's obviously a dramatic change from what we've been doing. I don't know whether I oppose it or agree with it, but I think there's a lot there. For us just to rush this through tonight, I think is asking a lot. So my proposal would be we pull these tonight and offer them up on the COW meeting next week and discuss it further and let everybody make their decision with more information, let people come and express their opinions one way or another. Let all of us, all 7 of us, express our opinions, because I think a lot of us didn't know this was going to happen.
Mr. McCall, do you wish to comment, or is it Barry? Is it yours? Barry, okay.
So, Mr. Cannon, yours is really a motion to postpone it until the 19th of December?
When's the COW? That's next week, isn't it?
Right. But
Yeah, you need to, what City Attorney Jim McCall is stating is if you're making a motion to postpone, it goes to the next council, but then we can still schedule it
I got you.
for
I'm sorry,
the
I
COW,
wasn't-
But he's going through the procedures.
Sometimes a little slow to the draw, but I get there eventually. Thank you. Yes, the 19th is correct.
So it's a motion to postpone to December the 19th?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Diastis has seconded. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Veenbos?
Yeah, my understanding is there's also a state law that's coming about with respect to cell phone antennas, and I'd like that information brought forward so that when we look at our, whatever we decide versus what the state's deciding, to see if it's copacetic. So for information purposes for the COW.
Certainly. We can
Right.
provide you that.
Right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Gallo.
Is there any additional internal information or external information that we can get on the functionality based on antenna height sizes, base stations, and what they would do if they were changed from 75 to 45 feet? Do we have that?
I don't know who has that.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Mr. I gather what we'll try and do is provide
As
what
much
you're
as we
asking
can.
for then. So,
I'll get it.
any other further questions or discussion? Mr. Veenbos?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Gallo. Whatever information we can get on like industry standards, for example, from people that are in that business, it would be good for us to know. Thank you.
So the motion is, and it has been seconded, to postpone this till the December 19th meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Diestis.
Yes.
Veenbos.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
No.
Gallo.
Yes.
Banjer.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and 1 opposed, it does go forward. That brings us to item F, to amend the comprehensive zoning code for an antenna. The ordinance, if adopted, would reduce the height of both commercial and non-commercial antennas in the city from the current permitted height of 75 feet to 45 feet. The Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on the attached proposed ordinance on December 5th, 2017. Request is made to give this ordinance a first reading, pending findings and recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission on whether the antenna height limitation should be reduced from 75 to 45 feet. Do I have a motion? Mr. Gallo has made it. It's been seconded. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
What? Go ahead. Seconded. Is Mr. Cannon, you have...
The same comments I made, I thought I did them together, but if I have to say it all over again, I'd like...
per item on the
Okay, so I
agenda.
would like to have this pulled and also brought up on the 19th again.
So your
Have a
motion-
discussion about it on next week if we can at the COW.
For the record, I need you to...
Right, so I need to get I'd like to have it postponed until our next
Okay.
council meeting, which is on the 19th.
Thank you. It's been seconded. Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Diastis?
Yes.
Veenbos?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Bud Matts?
Yes.
Majikis? No. Gallo?
Yes.
Bancher?
Yes.
With 6 in favor and 1 opposed, that does move forward. This brings the council to new business. The next item of business is a motion to approve the warrant from 12/5/17 as presented by the Finance Department. Is there a motion to approve the warrant? Mr. Banger has made that motion, and do I have a second? It has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will please call the roll.
Veenbos?
Yes.
Cannon?
Yes.
Bud Matts?
Yes.
Majikis?
Yes.
Gallo?
Yes.
Bancher?
Yes.
Diastis?
Yes.
With 7 in favor and none opposed, the warrant is approved. The next on the items on the agenda is the consent resolution. It consists of 5 items, H through L. Does any alderman wish to remove an item for the consent agenda for resolutions? Mr. Diaz.
L.
Any? Okay. That brings us with 4 items on the consent agenda. The chair declares it in order for H, I, J, and K to move forward in one motion without debate. Is there such a motion? Mr. Cannon has made that. It has been seconded. The question is, shall all 4 of the resolutions be adopted? H, the resolution number 17-R-137, approve a supplemental statement of work to the existing contract for professional services and municipal GIS partners, Incorporated, the GIS Consortium Service Provider. This resolution, if adopted, would award a contract for the supplemental services to assist with the development and integration of data in the city's new ERP platform. I, resolution number 17-R-138, approve fire engine repairs. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize a major repair of the city fire engine, RM117 FD612. J, resolution, approve the ambulance repairs. This resolution, if approved, would authorize the exterior repair to city ambulance, Rolling Meadows 292 FD624. K, resolution number 17-140, award a contract for 2018 fuel purchase. This resolution, if adopted, would award a 1-year contract extension to enter into the fuel purchase agreement with Redyne Fuel Company, formerly Palatine Oil Company, Elk Grove Village. Again, the question is, shall all 4 of the resolutions be adopted? The clerk will please call the roll.
Cannon?
Yes.
Bud Matts?
Yes.
Majikis?
Yes.
Gallo?
Yes.
Bancher?
Yes.
Diastis?
Yes.
Veenbos?
Yes. 7 in favor and none opposed. That moves forward. That brings us to resolution number 17-R-141, award city engineering services contract 2018-2019. The resolution, if adopted, would approve the basis for compensating the appointed city engineer, Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited, for services to be provided to the city of Rolling Meadows for the next 2 years, January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2019. Do we have a motion to move this forward? Mr. Veenbos has made it. Do I have a second? And I have a second. Mr. Diastis, you asked this to be pulled. So
Thank
you
you.
have first opportunity.
First of all, I guess I have several questions. First question being, did we put this out to bid? We've talked about having this contract be put out to bid for many years now, and now I see that it's not only a 1-year bid, it's a 2-year bid. My second question is, I don't see anywhere in here that says we have the right to cancel. So once we sign this, it looks like we're stuck for 2 years, like it or not. So those are my first 2 questions right off the top.
Okay. Mr. Crumstock or Mr. Rob?
It's my understanding that the last contract that the city signed with the engineer was also a 2-year contract, so we're just following the same format as was done in the past. What I can also tell you in regard to the cost, I did some research beginning of this year, asking other engineers what their retainer was at communities who do engineering services. I can tell you it's dramatically more than we're paying Christopher Burke right now, upwards of 200% more. I believe that we're getting a dramatic value for the retainer fee that we're paying based on actual costs they're probably incurring. I don't know if it's due to the relationship they've had with the city over the years, but I know it's very typical to be upwards of $5,000 a month for an engineer on retainer to do similar work.
That was not my question. My question was, did we put the contract out for bid?
My apologies. No, we did not.
So based on that alone,
given the cost.
Based on that alone, I'm going to vote no,
Okay.
because we've asked for years to have this go out to bid. And the retainer is the minimal amount. Let's look at what we pay them over the course of a year. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars from us. Anybody would give you a $2,500 retainer if they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I fully believe that, A, we should not sign a two-year contract that doesn't give us the ability to get out, and B, we should at least put this out to bid to know what's out there, because right now, we don't know since 2010 what's out there. My feelings.
I appreciate that. Also, I probably should have said that the city engineer is in the audience. If you have questions directly for him, he can probably respond to those.
Mr. Diastis?
I have no questions for him.
Okay. Are there Mr. Cannon and then Mr.?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do know we have a representative here, and I would just like to tell Gary, on behalf of his company, I think they do a great job for us. I've never, ever had a question about quality of work, ever. I do have a question about how much we pay every year, though. In the past, I think people who've been around here a while have known I've expressed an opinion that I think it'd be worthwhile for us to break it up a little bit, or possibly even hire our own engineer to do part of the work. I know there's lots of things that we could not do on our own, but to go along with what Mr. Diastis said, we are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, I want to reiterate, this is not about the quality of the work. I think Burke Group does a wonderful job. They're professionals, but we do pay a lot of money for it also. So I'm going to be hard-pressed to support this tonight the way it's been presented. Thank you.
Mr. Budmatz, then Ms. Majakis.
On page 204 of their proposal, it says it can be terminated with 60 days' notice, just for purpose
Okay,
of
I missed
conversation.
that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Majakis?
That's exactly what I was going to point out, that it's just stating on here, either party can terminate.
Okay. Other questions, discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bud Matts.
Yes.
Majikis.
Yes.
Gallo.
Yes.
Baner.
Yes.
Diastis.
No.
Veenbos.
No.
Cannon.
No.
With four affirmative and 3 negative, the resolution does pass. This brings the council to other businesses and reports. The mayor has no appointments or proclamations. Does the city clerk have a report?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Crumstock, community items of interest.
Sure thing. I will slow down the meeting at this point in time because I'm trying to keep up with the planning and zoning in a different room. So, but obviously, coming up this Thursday, we will be conducting our annual tree lighting event, and we'll have more on about that from Assistant to the City Manager. Lori sees that coming up in just a little bit. But again, reminder, it does start at 6 p.m. 6:30 is the dinner while supplies last, and obviously some additional information coming from our downtown. Obviously, we want to mention that Rolling Meadows has again partnered with the United States Marine Corps Reserves to collect Toys for Tots. Technically and physically, on Friday, December 8th, we will finish up our thing because typically on Monday they're here to pick up. We do greatly appreciate everybody who has donated up to this point in time. They actually had a vehicle here this week and we filled the entire van and we are filling up again. It's great to see the support for the Toys for Tot program. And again, for residents who still want to participate and are looking for those areas to drop off, we have one box at the library and obviously the box here at City Hall, 3600 Kirchhoff Road. And again, it does finish here on Friday, December 8th. On Saturday, December 9th, the Rolling Meadows Police Department will be conducting a food drive outside of the Jewel Osco Food located at 3000 Kirchhoff Road from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I would actually say it's a good time to fill up the Humvee because the need for food is greatly appreciated. And as I mentioned last time, comments will be open just that one day, actually selling quarts and pints for the holiday season, and then they will be closed until March or April, a period of time. The next city blood drive will be conducted on Tuesday, December 19th at City Hall from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The city, Swank, and Elgin Recycling are conducting the Holiday Light and Extension Cord and Wire Recycling program here. The 2 boxes are here on the west side of City Hall, and don't worry if they look filled because they will come and dump them every so often. And this program runs until February 16th, 2018. If you did not take all the good weather to put up your stuff and take down the old stuff, you can still do it because it's getting colder out there. And then the reminder, as we mentioned before, the Planning and Zoning Commission will be having a special meeting on Wednesday, December 20th at 7:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. The public hearing tentatively scheduled will consist of the preliminary approval for the 3-lot subdivision of the property located at 2819, 2915 Kirchhoff Road in the C2 Commercial District. Andrew Mao of Ryan Homes Incorporated is the petitioner. The second hearing deals with an amendment to the City of Rolling Meadows Comprehensive Plan for the rezoning request for the C2 Commercial to R4 General Residential for the southern approximate 9 acres of this 11-acre property. And then again, that's located at 2819, 2915 Kirchhoff Road. Andrew Mao, Ryan Homes, again, is the petitioner. And then the preliminary approval for the planned development for the property located at 2819, 2915 Kirchhoff Road in the C2 Commercial. Again, Andrew Mao from Ryan Homes is the petitioner. With that, those are the items to mention at this point in time.
Well, Mr. Crumstock, I gather that you're up again.
I am up again, and I actually have 2 changes at this point in time. So ComEd will be doing their annual report. It's a little bit late because there's some new stuff that they put in, and obviously, but per the agreements that all the municipalities that we have with ComEd, they do need to do their annual report. It is the 2016 report when they look at the 2017. Following EDC tonight, we will be pulling the restaurant initiative. We're going to have EDC talk about it one more time before we bring it to a cow. The committees, the mayors is pulling that off, and we will add the antenna discussion. So right now we have a revised committee of the whole meeting of ComEd being up first, and then we will be back at the antenna item discussions, and that will be again coming up Tuesday, December 12th.
Thank you, Mr. Crumstock. That brings us to presentation of the 2018 City Council meeting dates.
Do you want me to do it?
Sure, it's a clerk's report,
Well, it says defer to Barry.
It's
It's in
just
there.
the meetings for next year. It's the same as always, the second, third, and fourth Tuesdays of the month, except December, because Christmas falls on a Tuesday, so we will again move all the meetings up a week, so it'll be 6 meetings in a row. And I'll be publishing this in the newspaper, so.
Just thought I'd bring it up. I did have a few people that questioned the meeting dates yesterday, and I did refer to them that every year we do move the meetings up on a regular basis every year since I've been on the council because of the Christmas holidays. So as a result, they're now out there. So next year, when people are looking why we changed, they now know why it's out there. Ms. Zizak, I was expecting to see a little Christmas hat on, but go for it.
I'm sorry to let you down. We have 3 events in one evening this Thursday, December 7th. The first one is at 6 o'clock. It's the downtown tree lighting in front of McDonald's on Kirchhoff. The second event is everybody is welcome to walk over to the fire station on Meadow Drive for a complimentary spaghetti dinner from 6:30 to 8:30 while supplies last. And the third event is Trinity Lutheran Church next door to the fire station is hosting a free live radio show for a half hour at 7:30 with desserts and hot drinks after. We hope to see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Ms. Ezak. That now brings us up to Mr. Comstock.
First thing, obviously, it's the third annual house decorating contest. The police department runs this, and we do appreciate Sergeant Manfredi and Chief Nowacki and the crew who actually go through this. The campaign for this annual house decorating contest has already started. It runs through December 26th. It's really only for Rolling Meadows homes, but the patrol officers who are on patrol, when they see a house, they will take a picture. They will ask for permission to put it onto our Facebook. The other way of getting onto the Facebook is also submitting it to the Gmail account for the department, and that's rollingmeadowspolice@gmail.com. And then all the ones that are on the Facebook, we hope that people look at that. They look and consider all the likes that are out there. The top 5 likes are submitted to a panel, the Chief Nowacki, and he actually makes the choice of obviously who would be chosen. And then the police department will announce the winners on Facebook before New Year's and display the top 3 homes that won. And again, we do appreciate everybody for the holiday cheer. It is good to see with everything that's out and about in the world that we can really be festive and happy, and that's a good thing. But again, I really do appreciate Sergeant Manfredi and Chief Nowacki, who are really the administrators on this, and we really hope that people participate and keep the holiday cheer. With that, that is the third annual house decorating contest.
Thank you. Are there matters not on the agenda this evening? Mr. Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few months ago, the council approved some extra engineering fees for almost $9,000 because of extra engineering work that would need to be done on the outside of our building. We were promised a report at that time. I was wondering when we can expect that report.
With that, Rob?
Yeah, I'll have to discuss that with the director. I was not aware of the report, so if we can follow up at the committee of the whole meeting?
I know that they were actually working on that, so it is coming to you at some point.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Matters not on the agenda? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Seconded? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?